I am canning breakfast sausage for the first time, and I thought I'd bring you along to show you how I do that. If you if you came here to see this perfect, beautiful canning video, I'm sorry, we have a homestead and we're not perfect, and it's not beautiful right now because of all the piles, dishes that always have to be done. But I didn't want to miss this opportunity to bring you along and show you something that I am canning for the first time, and maybe encourage you, if you haven't done this before, to try it, even if your house is full of a bunch of piles. So I have 12 pounds of breakfast sausage in a pot. I am going to go ahead and do a hot pack. Some friends of ours blessed us with some breakfast sausage from their pig there, and I thought, hey, I've never canned sausage before. I just watched my sweet friends over at 1870s Homestead can sausage, and I thought I could do this. I'm going to go ahead and cook this down. I do have it on medium to low, and I did add about a cup of water to the bottom. I don't want it to burn. And I have some ground turkey going over here so I can make sloppy joes for my husband to take to work for the rest of the week. So as this cooks down, I'm going to be chopping it up and just kind of getting it all broken up. And then when it's ready to go into jars, I'll bring you along and show you. The process seems super simple. Meat is super easy. It's not that intimidating, and I'm going to use my Nessie, my digital pressure canner, to show you how to can that in a very, very easy way. My sausage is cooking beautifully. Got this little chopper here, got at Walmart. I'm just coming every so often and stirring it up, making sure that I'm getting down on the bottom so it doesn't burn. And then my ground turkey has been cooking on the stove. I drained a lot of the water off of it, and now I'm just going to let it kind of brown up a little bit more. Turkey doesn't brown like beef does, but I'm going to let it go for a little bit longer before I add the sloppy joe mix. It's done. I'm going to go ahead and get my jars filled. I got my jars all washed and cleaned. I also have a clean rag right here that I had put some vinegar on to wipe my rims with. First thing with canning is you always want to make sure your station is ready. So when your food is ready, you are ready. And everything can just go smoothly. I got everything cleaned. I got this pretty little slotted spoon to use to put my sausage in. Y'all remember how I said you need pretty dishes to help you get through the kitchen? Today's one of those days. I'm on the struggle bus. Don't really feel like doing this. Like I said earlier, my house is full of piles, but you know what? Stuff like this gives me joy. This $2 clearance spoon that I got last year, I think it was at the Dollar Spot Target, just added a little bit of joy to this chore that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be taking my sausage, putting it in my jars, and using my slotted spoon. Even though we are going to fill up our jars with water to the correct headspace, and it is totally fine if you get any of that grease in your jars. We kind of want some of that grease in there, especially for when you make biscuits and gravy, like the favorite thing I love to make with sausage. So I probably will spoon some of this grease on top of my meat before I add some water, because, you know, it's okay to have in your jars, and it's actually really good to have with your food if you're cooking things that you need to make a roux with. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the jars and clean the rims off my jars, get my lids ready, and get my Nessie out, and we're going to process this sausage together. All my jars are filled. I ended up with 10 jars. Now my canner only does 5 at a time. So what I'm going to do is just let these sit on the counter, and then when that batch is done, I just want to make sure that the temperature of my water for my second batch is kind of the same temperature as my jars. So if my meat sits on the counter for that little bit of time and the water is lukewarm, then I'll make sure that my canner water is lukewarm. The rims with my vinegar, and now I'm going to put the lids on and the rings finger tight. I did set some aside to have with our farm fresh eggs tonight for dinner. I probably won't use all this. I know I won't use all this for dinner, so I think I'm going to put some in a baggie and use to stuff my jalapeno peppers with this week. With the jars, I did fill them up with just a tiny little bit of that water that was left in here, but then I just used tap water, and just make sure you have the proper headspace and make sure you debubble it. So I'm going to go ahead and get these lids and rings on and get my canner going, and I'll bring you back, friends, and show you the next step. My canner, I have 8 cups of water. I just turned my tap water on until it was really hot and kind of steamy so it would match the temperature of the jars. Remember, this meat was not boiling hot. It was just tap water hot. So I'm going to turn my lid to close. I'm going to make sure that my vent is on exhaust. And then I'm going to hit high 90 minutes. I hit high 90 minutes and press start. So we're going to wait for this to do its thing. Just leave her alone. And you know, you watch. I have videos on how to use her. I'm going to be in the kitchen making dinner and getting dishes cleaned up. So I'll just keep an eye on her. Flip my valve when the 10 minutes of pressure time is up. Yeah. So I wanted to take a moment and encourage you. If you don't have the ability to buy pasture-raised organic meat, do what you can with what you have, with what God's given you. We buy ground turkey at Walmart. We haven't had ground beef for a while. We're using pork that was blessed to us by a friend. We don't raise our own pigs. We don't raise our own cow. Don't let that hold you back from being a blessing for your family and from being able to can and put stuff up. I'm using my spring cleaning pile as a tripod. It works great when your tripod isn't tall enough. But just wanted to kind of, you know, hopefully share those words of wisdom with you that, you know, we all can't do what all the other people think we should do. And we need to be able to embrace all that God's given us. And sometimes He hasn't given us all these other things that we wish we had, or all the things that everybody else has. But we could still find joy and contentment. We could still use what we have and be a good steward of it. And we could still find the blessing in that.